Hello listeners, this is Jacko Zwetsloot. Before we get started, a request to you all. NK News is running another survey about this podcast. Thank you to everyone who took part in the survey last time. We're doing another survey now to give us more clarity on ways that we might develop the podcast so that it better appeals to a crowd that is not currently listening to it. So please take a couple of minutes to visit nknews.org/survey and fill out the answers. It really would help me and the team at NK News to put out the best quality product that will help us to grow our audience and achieve my long-stated goal of getting 1% of Joe Rogan's listenership. Hello, podcast listeners. Welcome to NK News Podcast. I'm your host, Jacko Zwetsloot, and today it is Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. I'm joined here by Eunju Lee and Eunju Kim from Freedom Speakers International to talk about the work of that organization in helping refugees who have escaped North Korea to tell their stories in English. But first, please, a request and a reminder to leave a review about this podcast episode on whatever platform you use and share it with everyone you think should listen or who might be interested. And what's more, like and subscribe to the whole series. Second, check out nknews.org, where each day my journalist colleagues write the best in North Korea-focused journalism. A subscription for a year costs less than $1 a day, which helps to fund their work and also this podcast. Thirdly, you can follow nknews.org on Twitter and me at JackoZ. Now, to introduce my two guests today, Eunju Lee is co-founder and co-president at Freedom Speakers International, formerly the Teach North Korean Refugees Global Education Center. She's an expert and advocate for North Korean human rights, North Korean refugee integration, and capacity building. And Eunju Kim is a North Korean refugee communication specialist at FSI. She's come from North Korea to South Korea. At the same time, she's the co-author of 1,000 Miles to Freedom, and she's currently taking a graduate course at Korea University, where I once studied, majoring in sociology, focusing on North Korean women refugees. Welcome on the show, Eunju and Eunju.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.
Oh, and of course, I forgot to remind our listeners that everyone can find Freedom Speakers International online at FSI21. That's FSI21.org.
Thank you.
Okay, so Eunju, let's start with you. You were born and raised in North Korea, weren't you?
Yes, I was born in North Korea in 1986.
Okay.
Yeah, and I escaped North Korea at first time was 1999 during the huge famine.
Right.
After my father passed away. Then I lived in China for 3 years, and then I was repatriated to North Korea with my mom and with my older sister.
How did that happen, that repatriation?
Chinese police suddenly did middle night.
Yep.
Even they didn't turn on the light. They
Wow.
just came and suddenly knocked our door, and we were just caught.
Were you together with other North Korean refugees, or was it just you and your mother?
No, me and my mother and my older sister were together.
Uh-huh.
And actually, my mom were sold to a Chinese man, so we were at his house.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Chinese caught you and they gave you back to North Korea.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, and where were you born? Where did you live in North Korea?
I was born in Hamgyong province.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
That's,
north part of North Korea. Yeah.
Yep.
Then
Was it Hamgyong North or Hamgyong South?
Hamgyong North. Eundeok city is really famous in South Korea with the other name ROG, which is coal mine. Is there. Then many South Korean soldiers after the Korean War was North Korea regime sent them in that place. So that city is really famous in South Korea.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, for the coal mine and the prisoners of war. Okay, and then how did you come out of North Korea a second time?
Actually, we were that person already. I mean, during the huge famine, there were many people died because of starvation.
Yeah.
So if you disappeared for 3 years, from your city,
Yep.
then they will delete you.
Okay, from the records.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we left our hometown for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then we were repatriated again. So we were not people who exist in
Right.
North Korea.
Officially, you were non-people.
Yeah. So we have to be present forever in case. But my older sister and I at that time was underage. So they can't make us stay in the jail forever. So it's a long story.
Yes.
Anyway, that's kind of how we had one more chance to escape from North Korea.
And when was that?
It was 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
And you crossed the border again into China?
Yeah. At the first time when we crossed the Tuman River, we crossed the frozen Tuman River, and it was more than 100 meters. But second time, it was spring.
Yes.
And we crossed the Sanglyu, the
upstream?
Yeah, the narrow part of the Tuman River.
Yep.
So we just can cross without any tool. We can just by foot could cross the.
You
Tuman
could walk
River.
through the river.
Yeah, walk through the river.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh. And then how did you come to South Korea?
After that, we realized we can't live in China forever.
Yeah.
As an illegal immigrant.
Right.
We don't know. Every moment we have to worry about the Chinese police.
Yeah.
So when we escaped in North Korea, just because of food, but when we decided to come to South Korea, we wanted more freedom.
Yeah.
We wanted life as a human being. So that's why we came to South Korea.
Okay, and did you have to travel to Southeast Asia? Did you go through Laos or Thailand or something?
Through Mongolia.
Through Mongolia?
Yeah, through Gobi
okay.
Desert.
Wow, that's a very difficult journey, isn't it?
Yeah. I saw some people disappearing there, and some people have to cut their feet because it's frozen. And many bad things are happening during the route.
So after you left the second time in 2002, how long was that journey? How long did it take to reach South Korea?
5 years.
Wow, that's a very long journey.
Yeah, so totally I stayed in China for 7 or 8 years. Yeah,
the first time and the second time together.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, and eventually you came through Mongolia and made it to South Korea. Wow, that's amazing. And what have you done since coming to South Korea, and what are you doing now?
I thought I'm a smart girl when I was in North Korea. And then when I came to China, I saw many kids who's same age with me goes to school. I was really envied them. Then after we decided to come to South Korea, I had that wish is I want to go to school. Then I came to South Korea. I entered the school. Then it was really difficult.
Yes.
Anyway, I graduated high school and entered the university, and I finished that. And now I'm taking graduate school here in Korea University, and now I'm working with Eunju Kim at FSI.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier that you are doing a graduate degree in sociology focusing on North Korean women refugees.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about your research area, because that sounds interesting.
Yes. As you know, more than 70% of North Korean refugees are women.
Yeah.
And many of them actually have kids and family in North Korea. And then after they escaped North Korea, in China, they married with Chinese men, even they wanted or not wanted, because of the human trafficking. And then they gave a birth in China.
Right.
Then how they came to South Korea, they made a new family here. Of course, some of them, they just took their Chinese family or North Korean family to South Korea.
Yeah.
But many of them had made a new family here in South Korea. So the North Korean women have to take care of, support the Chinese baby in Chinese their kids in China, and of course in North Korea, and even in South Korea. So
how many women are we talking about? How many women have children in all three countries?
I don't know exactly how many of them data, because many of them hiding it.
Yeah.
It's not their fault,
Right.
but they not really wanted to share about their to them it's bad experience.
Yeah.
So they don't want to share it. But there are many of them. My mom's case, she don't have any more kids in North Korea, but I have a younger brother in China now. Yeah. So sometimes we supporting them, sending him
Financially.
money. Yeah, financially.
Okay, you sent some money.
Yeah. But
Is he living with his Chinese father?
Yeah, but just a few months ago, his Chinese father passed away.
Oh,
so
dear.
He's alone, but he's already adult.
Okay.
So we are not really much worried about him,
Yes.
much worried about him. But there are many other North Korean women having the similar situation. So even they had freedom.
Yep.
Yeah, and the way they came to South Korea, the immigrant way, it's by themselves.
Yes.
It looks like North Korean women had empowerment, empowering them, the route, the way. However, when they came to South Korea, their life, it's not about woman empowerment. It's still woman 여성 착취?
Yeah, the struggling.
The struggling their life because they are women.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So I want to focusing on the woman's life.
Yeah.
The escaping is not finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Are you going to write a book about that after you finish your research?
I wish I can do that, but I'm really having difficult time with the writing my thesis.
Yeah, writing is indeed very difficult. Wow, well, thank you. Do you prefer, well, hang on, before I ask that, how and where did you learn English?
Actually, I started to learn English after I came to South Korea. I even done when I 20, I even didn't know about the ABC alphabet.
Wow.
Yeah, and then.
So in North Korea, do children in school learn about the alphabet?
Yes. My older sister did. Yeah. But many of them at that time, still many of them choose Russian.
Oh, I see.
Not English.
Yep.
But as I heard, these days many North Korean students choose English, not Russian.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's been a change in it.
Yeah.
So you learned English here in South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're doing very well. Do you prefer to call yourself a refugee or a defector, or what's your label for people like you? Who are you? What are you?
I'm in South Korea. In South Korean, 탈북자.
Okay.
It more clearly shows my identity.
Somebody who escaped from North Korea.
Yeah.
And when you speak English, what do you call yourself?
As I know, defector have some negative meaning. So when we studying and when we say, we just say refugee, North Korean refugee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for telling a little bit about your story. Eunju, let's come to you now. How did you first become involved in helping North Korean refugees?
For my case, as a South Korean, my belief is that the unification. As a South Korean, I'm a person who really believe we should have unification in North Korea.
I don't want to. I don't want you to reveal your age, but are you from that generation who grew up in the 1980s fighting for unification, and you were maybe demonstrating on the street for unification?
No, I'm a more younger generation.
Okay.
I was born in 1979.
Okay.
So it's actually the democratization movement
Yeah.
already kind of my older generation done.
Right.
I'm more like a X generation, I think.
Yep. So when you went to university, Kim Jong-sam was president.
1990s, no, 1997. I was in the 1997 is my first.
Okay. So it was the end of Kim Jong-sam and the beginning of Kim Dae-jung.
Kim
Okay.
Dae-jung.
So that big sort of pro-unification movement was kind of finished by then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I don't know where they're from, the thought unification. Maybe I was born in very nearby Paju area, between very close.
In Paju or near Paju?
In Paju.
Oh, my first home in Korea was in Paju.
Oh, really? They're real countryside.
1996, 97.
Oh, that is at the time really the countryside.
It was.
Yeah. So Actually, my whole education, because the place where I live and was born is always we are against North Korea, the education.
Right.
But always in my mind that how can we become a one country? Then actually the bachelor degree is that the education, but I realized that I'm not a person be a teacher in Korea. So I really think about my career. Then what should I do for my nation? Very bigger concept. Then I realized that I really want to contribute even small thing to become a one country with North Korea. Then what should I do? What is the first step? Then I realized that I should learn about what is North Korea is. So I went to the graduate school for study North Korean studies, and then
the one here in Samcheongdong?
Oh no, I'm in Yuhwa.
Oh, you went to Yuhwa, okay.
Yeah, so then I learned many things. Actually, I didn't know the North Korea system is a splendid, and then it's but many things I learned. But the main big thing I learned the reality of North Korea is when I'm working at NKDB as a researcher for publishing white paper of human rights. At the time, I met so many refugees to hear their stories, especially North Korean human rights. Then I knew that the reality North Korea system is really terrible. When I said. So it's my starting point actually all the unification. How can we become a one country? And then study about that and working at the related organization, and also I working at the KDI, that the 한국교육개발원.
Korea Development Institute.
Oh, Korea Development Educational. Korean Educational Development Institute.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe KEDI.
Yeah, KEDI.
Right.
That for the North Korean young people to adjust the public school life. So. So
and that's difficult, right? Because North Korean young people who come to South Korea, they have a lot of difficulties fitting into the school. They're usually older than their classmates.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
different experience.
Wow, that's so knowledge. Yeah. So it's actually South Korean government, especially Ministry of Education, they really support that the well adjustment for young people in school. So I kind of working all related to my career, and then academic things relate to the North Korea. Then also I study Sheffield, the master degree, another master degree. So all things relate to the North Korean refugee or North Korean issue. But their starting point is unification.
Unification,
right.
So how did you come to co-found the organization Teach North Korean Refugees, now called Freedom Speakers International?
Yeah, that time, actually, I don't have any plan, like setting up the NGO in South Korea. But I met Mr. Casey Ratti, who is
he's your other co-founder.
Yeah, right, co-founder. That I met him at the International North Korean Human Rights Conference. that I'm just was a volunteer to helping foreigners. He is just one of the audiences to listen the human rights issue. Then we just talk just talking about the North Korean refugee North Korean issue as a common topic. Then later we just talk that how can we help practically? Because at the time I'm a researcher. I worked for helping North Korean refugees, but I couldn't see outcome. Is it the government working, but I don't know, is it really useful for North Korean refugee life? But through the organization, I can meet refugees, I can listen the feedback directly. That's why I can more get into being a co-founder of organization.
And when was that? In which year was Teach North Korean Refugees
Is
founded?
it officially... is it the start as a volunteer 2013? But during that time, the Casey and I we have a job. We started the volunteers. But getting bigger, and we need more demand from volunteer side and North Korean refugee side. So we became officially organization in 2017, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And why did you change the name from Teach North Korean Refugees to Freedom Speakers International?
The main thing is actually COVID-19.
Really?
Before that, we really focusing on that tutoring individually. So far,
Right, you would match North Korean refugees with an English tutor,
Right,
and they would meet one-to-one
Right,
in person
Yeah, right.
and teach. Yeah.
Through that program, we have more than 500 North Korean refugees. More than 1,000 volunteers came to us for help for the program.
Yeah.
But after got COVID, that is it really the right way, because it's difficult to the in-person meeting, and then mentoring is not easy for them. But the main advantage for North Korean refugees is one-to-one studying in person with the native speaker, most of them.
Right.
So we need to think about that. How can we more focusing to making effectively to import North Korean refugees? So then we changed the name to Freedom Speakers International, and then focusing on that, the speeches in English, and then publication to share their stories. So one of the main reason, impact. The reason is that I think COVID.
Right. So if I understand correctly, so Freedom Speakers International is more capable of working in a hybrid online offline space, and the Teach North Korean Refugees was more about just meeting offline. Is that right?
Yeah. But still the mentoring, speech mentoring, we are still online.
Yep.
But the before TNKR that we have no online. It's all the offline classes. But now we should adjust.
Right.
But there is a the tutoring is the main part. Then more like we finding speech opportunity for North Korean refugees. And even though we have a speech contest twice a year, and then telling story. The publications.
Now, why do you think it's important to help North Korean people speak English and tell their stories in English? There are so many things that North Koreans who come to live in South Korea, they have to learn. They have to adjust to this South Korean Bali society. They have to learn how to use a computer, how to drive a car, how to get a job, how to make money. Why is learning English a priority?
My understanding is learning English for North Korean refugees that adjustment, my belief, because I heard that many cases they say that I need English because in South Korea lots of Konglish here. So when they came here, what is for example,
computer cleaning.
Computer cleaning? Okay.
That's still a mystery to me.
Right.
When I first saw that sign, I thought, they clean your computer for you.
Right. Yeah. So humans here, apartment, the banana bus, or everything. Not everything, but most of we are using a Konglish in our life. Yeah. So,
yesterday I got an email from a client, and they mentioned the word "needzu." Needzu. That's now, which, from English, Needs, needs, and now they use it in Korean, writing it in Hangul, needzu, instead of pilyo or something like that.
Needs. What is your needs? Needs가 뭐예요? Right. It's kind of general things we use. So for South Korean, most of them, the learning English is their promote their careers and will go to more better school. But my understanding for North Korean refugees learning English is that adjustment. Yeah, so which is really important because during the communication or integration with South Koreans can understand their language and it's quite difficult. So
tell me about Eunju, why did you want to learn English?
Many people think that we speak Korean, so language may have no any problem. But during the communication may have no any problem.
Right.
But
because North Korea and South Korea have the Korean
same
language.
Yeah. But we do really have many problems when we communicate because of language.
Yep.
As she said, maybe because some Congress. Then also we use different vocabulary North Korea and South Korea. Because of that, people feel strange what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Even it's Korean.
Right.
We can't communicate. And I will talk you a simple example about the importance of English.
Okay.
For example, one of my college friends, college friend, he at the first year in college, the professor asked every student to write a paper of a report. But he didn't understand about the report. Then the D-Day, professor asked her, why don't you send me the report? And they say, what's report?
So what would be the word in North Korean for that? Would that be a 보고서 or a
maybe 보고서 kind of
문건?
maybe 보고서 or I don't know. I never entered the college when I was in North Korea.
right?
But anyway, just simple. It looks a really simple thing, but to us, we have to figure out by ourselves if we don't understand that,
Right.
and then easily skip it because we didn't get it.
Yep. Wow. Okay. And so that's why you wanted to learn English, was to help you in South Korea.
Kind of, but these days I want to communicate with the world.
Yes. Right. And that coming back to you, Eunju, that's what Freedom Speakers International does,
Yeah.
right? So as you said, it helps, your organization helps North Koreans, helps to find speaking opportunities in international forums for
Right.
North Koreans.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for the global public.
Right.
Yeah, so
And you've helped 500 North Koreans with their English in the last almost 10 years?
Yeah, that is almost 10 years, but not everyone are ready.
Yeah.
Not ready to be a public speaker. So
Right.
yeah, as you know that
Yep.
they should consider many things. Yeah, family in North Korea
Yeah.
and even their identity,
Mhm.
revealed identity in South Korea. So now we are more like working directly like a authority who want to be a public speaker. Then I can see that through the speech opportunity and giving a speech by North Korean refugee in English is that also empowering them because through
yes.
that they gain confidence because I did.
Yep.
They give a speech to in English
Yes.
to the global society. Then also through that, I can see that they're growing, that they get more responsibility
Right.
to talk about the reality of North Korea to the people. So it's a great thing, I think, and then we are happy to work with them.
And I understand that your organization has also published 2 books.
Right, yes.
What are the titles?
One book is A Green Light to Freedom, written by Songmi and Casey Ratti. They are co-authors. And the other book is my father's North Korean story, Walk to Freedom,
Okay.
written by Bong Han and then Won Han. Bong Han is the daughter of the Won Han.
Right.
So yeah, 2 books so far we published.
Okay. And Eunju, you've also written a book, but it wasn't published by FSI, is that right?
Already.
No.
Uh-huh.
No, it's published by Michel Lafon in France.
Yeah.
Maybe your next book. can be
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay, and that's the story of how you escaped from North Korea and came to South Korea. Is that right? That's the
Yeah.
What's
The
the book?
book is about my experience from North and through China and South Korea, and the book starts with my will that I wrote when I was 11 in North Korea. After 6 days, have nothing. Yeah.
So it starts with a what? Sorry, what did you write?
Actually, my mom left home with my other sister.
Yep.
She said that she would come back in 3 days. And she just gave me 15 won,
Oh, yes.
15 Korean won, which is only can buy a piece of tofu.
Tofu.
Tofu. And then I had it just in 1 hour. Then I started to wait. My mom and my older sister came back, but until the 6 days,
Yeah.
they didn't came,
Wow.
and I had nothing. So at that time, I saw so many people die
Yeah.
because of starvation. So I never be afraid of death. Really. At that time, I was 11, but I do really feel bad with that feeling that I was abandoned by my mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I wrote, I feel like I'm going to die. Why, Mom, don't you come back or something, that kinds of things.
You wrote a last letter.
Yeah, last letter to my mom.
Okay. Eunju, coming back to you. So in the last 20 years, there have been many, many different books that have been published telling the stories of North Korean refugees. It's almost impossible to read all of them. Is each story different and unique in some way?
I'm sure. And I didn't read all of the refugee books, but I'm sure each refugee story is valuable, worth it to read because all of the different experience in North Korea and most of them they miss their neighbors and then families definitely, but they kind of because of regime they got the trauma that no freedom life in North Korea. So. Some people say that I mean, is it similar stories or they're always talking about terrible experience? But I don't believe. Is it each authors has their own stories, and
Right.
we should know about that.
Now, some people are skeptical about the accuracy of refugee stories. Do you believe that the stories are generally reliable and truthful?
Okay. Of course, but I think, how about the thing? Eunju?
Yes,
Speaking as a North Korean
as
refugee.
an author, my story is 100% is true. I didn't lie anything, but I had hide something. Because
So
some
you're saying you
stories,
didn't tell everything.
yes,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel sorry to my co-author, Sebastian Faladi, because
Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian, if you're listening.
yeah, because at that time I feel like I wasn't ready to share my story, because some experience was really hurts me and hurts my family
Right.
at the time. So yeah, that's why I couldn't tell all my experiences through my book. But people ask us. Those Korean refugees testimony or books sometimes having issue. I mean, in bad way, as you asked.
Yeah.
But I want to say, we all had different life.
Yep.
No one can judge others' experience. Yeah, and in my experience, I read some of their books. I don't know it's a lie or not, but it really happens in North Korea, the story. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Now, are North Korean refugee stories always sad and depressing, or can people gain hope and inspiration from them? Yeah, either of you, whoever wants to say first.
Yeah. I mean, even for me, whenever I hear our speakers' stories, that I always appreciate where I was born, and then I already got the freedom.
Yeah.
Then I can choose what I want. But so more like I appreciate current my life when I hear the North Korean refugee stories. So and then when they talking about that, whatever their story, they more conclusion that freedom, we should protect freedom, appreciate freedom, and then your life in here, freedom society. So I'm sure is it inspire and all of different stories, and it's not always beautiful, but through that stories we can learn and inspire from them. So yeah, I'm sure.
And do you get inspiration from other North Korean refugee stories?
Oh yes, just a few weeks ago. I mean, the book which FSI published, Han Song-mi's book.
Yep.
Actually, my book, my English is a little difficult to me to read.
Yep.
But her book was really easy to read. I could get every sentence deeply. So I was crying when I reading her book. And as a refugee, it reminds me other North Korean girls, students in North Korea.
Right.
For example, my friends who having no freedom there. So it makes me to work more hard.
Yes.
And of course, and other way, among the refugees, they never share about their experience. Among ourselves, even how close we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, best even among
Why
best friends.
Is that?
I don't know why, but we don't. But through our book, I mean, some of my friends also, I never tell them, but after they reading my book, say, "Oh, 우리 Eunju, my friends, you had so difficult time." Something in that way, we could understand each other too. So, some North Korean refugees make misunderstanding about their, North Korea.
Yeah.
They think what they experienced is North Korea. Then others say other refugees say something other thing. They will say they are lying because they didn't experience it.
Right.
But North Korea is like a really, how to say, and it depends on your background and depends on your city and depends on your age.
Yeah.
And everyone could experience in different way of North Korea.
Right.
So through others' book, we also can learn about new North Korean that we didn't experience.
Okay.
I just remind that we just had a speech contest February 25th, and then Songmi and Eunju, they sit together, and then there's a speech contest.
Yes.
We are 8 students joined the speech contest as the contestant, and then during the speech contest, then Songmi and Eunju holding hands, and then they cried when they hear the other when they heard the other stories.
Yeah.
So, is it inspire each other because all different stories. Yeah.
So these 2 books that you mentioned that FSI has published, can people order them through the FSI website?
Amazon.com or Amazon.uk or Amazon,
But they can find the titles at your website and then go and buy them on Amazon.
It's at our website in publications. You can check out our books.
FSI21.org.
Thank you.
Okay. So Eunju, what's your role at FSI? And how long have you been there?
I started working at FSI from 10 months ago.
Okay.
Last year.
Yeah.
Middle of last year. Then we only have 5 members of
of the team.
2 co-founder and 2 more workers.
Right.
So it's like a family office. So I'm doing everything here. Cleaning, from cleaning. But I'm really happy to working here. I mean, not because it's small. As a refugee, I can give my own idea and experience when we applying a project or program. Also, I could have a chance to programming a project by myself. So I'm really enjoying working here, and I can test my ability, or also I can have a more direct chance to help other refugees here. So I'm really...
So actually, we have known Eunju 2015, 14. And then she was a
student.
She was student, but she was a winner of our speech contest, speech contest. And so we had a tutoring program or speech program or career development program. Every program she always joined. So actually we have a long relationship with her. Then we have one position. We want to actually hire North Korean refugees as the staff. Then at the time also Eunju looking for jobs. So we are kind of great time. So we
Good
work
timing,
together.
And what do you hope to do in the future, Eunju?
In the future, actually my really long future dream is becoming a farmer. I do really like a village. I will try to keep work for North Korean human rights until North Korean people having the same life, enjoy the same freedom like me. So I believe I will in this field, maybe in FSI for after 10 years. I'm not sure, but I believe after 10 years, I might take a more bigger role to help North Korean refugees and work for improving North Korean human rights situation.
Well, that's great. You've got some big ambitions. And, okay. Not just at FSI, but also farming. All right.
I didn't know.
See, now we're learning about each other. So, Eunju, you're the co-founder, the co-president of FSI, and you've also got another co-founder and co-president. That's Casey Latig, who not on the show with us today. But tell us a little bit about what he does in the organization. What's his role?
Actually, he's a great achievement for empowering North Korean refugees. First, his main role is a mentor for North Korean refugees, especially when North Korean refugees give a speech, and he really helping that not change the script or not adding his idea, more like a guide how can give a great speech to the global public, the public. So he's a great mentor with the North Korean refugees. Students, and also he also inspires South Koreans, I believe, because as a South Korean, I believe we should more care of North Korean refugees in this society or embrace them. But the South Korean actually inspired by him, because even as a foreigner, he helping North Korean refugees in here. So he give also inspiration to South Korean as well. It's great, and he's more like very passionate and then dedication for this work. So I have been working with 10 years, and also he's kind of creative. He's a creative, and he always thinking it that how can making it more effective.
Yes.
Then how North Korean refugees can more comfortable to give a speech, which is not easy for North Korean refugees. So, it's a great achievement. I'm happy to work with him.
Good. Do you want to add any comments, Eunju?
Oh, he's more like agency in office.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know agency, right?
Yes, yes.
So he's my boss, but in the other way, he's like friends. And so I believe other North Korean students and refugees, when they visit office, they feel comfortable with the communicate with him and talking with him.
Yeah, smiling.
So, so in that way, he's mentor and leader and friend, everything.
Great. Hello, Casey, if you're listening. Eunju, why do you think people in South Korea are not very, very interested or passionate in North Korea? I mean, you are. You're obviously, but you're a special case. What about the rest of South Koreans?
I mean, just South Korea is kind of sad for me. I mean, I don't know, but I think one is that still, because we know we need a unification, but through the education, actually, we didn't teach much about that, how much we necessary of unification, more like North Korea's enemy. So through the education, also South Korea is brainwashed by the government. Also, I think the media is also more focusing on that, the nuclear weapon, and more like a regime rather than the North Korean people. So the image of North Korea is kind of negative for Koreans. So maybe South Koreans, it's close to North Korea unification is really useful for us or making an advantage or benefit for us. So I think education and media is kind of influence on the South Koreans, and also young people. It's very basic. Many people knows that they are more focusing on their life rather than the countries. So many things happen.
In the last, have you seen more people become interested in North Korean refugees and their problems?
Unfortunately, not. I think. And statistically, they're showing that the younger generation less interested in the unification. We can see, and one is interesting question. I remember that the young South Koreans, you want to marry North Korean refugees. North Koreans, they say no, most of negative way, and then it's okay. North Koreans be neighbors.
A neighboring country, a separate country. Right.
So it's all statistics says that actually negative way for the unifications, young people. So I'm sad.
Yeah.
Actually, in school, I was in high school in South Korea. They have they educate students about unification, but the unification is so bright, not real.
So it's like a fantasy, sort of a romantic idea.
Yeah, so in the unification class or lecture, ask students to draw the Korea peninsula with some flowers and some flags. Yeah. But they never teach us about the real image about North Korea, the reality. So the unification education is far from the reality. So when they grow up, they can't match the unification and the North Korea together. So it has big difference and big gap. So it never make them to think about North Korea or real unification or peace.
Gosh. Now, is Freedom Speakers International, is it a political organization? Do you have political aims regarding North Korea?
No way. No way. I'm really be careful, avoid that political and then religious as well, because we are purely want to empower North Korean refugees, not related to the political issue or religious, and that is also make that North Korean refugee uncomfortable, because as you know, in South Korea, we are North Korean refugees more like not using, but it's kind of relevant with the political issue whenever, between the tension between North and South. So we don't want to get involved at all.
How can people who live in South Korea become involved in helping your work?
Please call us. And we are welcome South Koreans. And then we are, as a South Korea, we want them to expand our networking. in South Korean society because we are located in South Korea,
Yep.
but we cannot cover everyone. So
Right.
word of mouth introduce what we are doing to other South Koreans, and they can come to us and we can talk together, how
Right.
to work together. Yeah.
Okay, so visit your website, fsi21.org.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
And what about people living outside Korea? How can they help?
Yeah, so actually we have some the mentoring program right now that then also we are speech contest, especially they're mentor from all over the world, especially the USA. So they can be a mentor, they can apply, be a
Okay.
mentor, and then also they can be a donor with us. So yeah, check out our website and
Yep.
then
They also can invite us as
Yeah.
a speaker.
Ah, right, to
Yeah.
give those opportunities. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us about, you mentioned donors there. Tell us about money. Where does most of your money come from at the moment?
yeah, we so far we rely on the individual donors and company donors, but thankfully we became a high risk status in South Korea as a organization we call POBIN. So that status we can give. We give a tax deduction for company as well. Before that, we only give a tax deduction to individual, but now we can give a tax deduction to companies. So we can do more broader and then more reach out to more companies and individuals. So please support us, and we are donations, 11 donations.
Okay. Are you getting any money from the CIA?
Do you know about that? Could you let me know?
It's something that people always say, oh, you know, the CIA wants to bring about regime change in North Korea, so they're funding all these different refugee
Oh,
groups.
really? But not us, I think.
Okay.
we are
Right.
we are too naive, maybe.
Now, coming back to Eunju, as a former North Korean, was it difficult for you in the beginning to work with and to trust an American, Casey, or other mentors after what you had learned about Americans in North Korea as, you know, evil imperialist people?
Yes. Actually, when I was in North Korea, our enemy is, of course, the US American,
Yeah.
has big nose
Right.
and green eyes,
Yep.
yellow hair.
Mm.
That was American image. I didn't know there is African American.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because anyway. But after I came to South Korea, I met many volunteers.
Yes.
Even the college students who volunteering through the NGOs, not at that time not FSI, but through them I could have more chance to meet foreigners too. And if you go Hongdae or wherever, you
Yep.
can see many foreigners there. So it wasn't that strange or uncomfortable or any other new thing to me to mean foreigners.
Yeah.
So Mr. Casey also not really, as I said, he's like a저씨,
Right.
old man, so comfortable.
Like an uncle.
Uncle. So
Yeah, so I mean, some refugee when they came to us, they said that it's the first time I met
Ah,
cases
yes.
as a foreigner.
Yeah.
But they are all the brainwashed. The Americans, the bastard. But
Yes.
he was smiling. Any help? Or can I help something? So. I mean, they changed. And then now I think USA is the most country they want to go visit,
Yep.
I think, because I asked them why the powerful country in the world. So, I mean, they brainwashed the negative of the USA, but
Yep.
when they came here, I mean, actually, so beautiful people from the USA. So,
Now, I have read and heard that some North Koreans find life in South Korea to be so difficult that some of them want to go and live permanently in another country, for example, in America or in Great Britain or even in Australia. Is that something that you hear? Is that why some of the refugees want to learn English to get ready to move overseas?
I think because of the Korean society problem, I think they feel like discrimination,
Yeah.
even if the North Korean refugee believe they are South Korean citizens part of, but
Yeah.
the South Koreans still did embrace them as neighbors and
Right.
South Koreans. So even the South Korean knew that, oh, you are from North Korea, then get no questions, and then later then not interested in and more like investigate. So it feel like the uncomfortable making North Korean refugees to live here. So I think mainly it's discrimination because in the USA or other country, I mean, they are just one of refugees.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, not from North Korea. So not labeling.
Mm.
So I think one of the main reasons. Also, some of them, they have ambitious. So they want to achieve their life in other country because they can speak English. So variety reason, but some reason I think definitely related to the discrimination here.
Now, what about you, Eunju? Do you plan to stay in South Korea or do you want to go and live somewhere else?
If I have chance to live in other country, I will try to experience for my variety life. But not because of other purpose.
Right.
Not because I hate South Korea or
Right.
things. But I believe at the first time we came to South Korea, at the first step we adjusting here, we just like a baby who's learning step by step.
Right.
So need someone help. But as Eunju Lee says, there are some discrimination and labeling us as a stranger.
Yeah.
Not just like an immigrant stranger anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why some of them decide to go to other place to try to new life or better life.
Great.
As she said, to be just one of them, not special.
Just
one.
normal
Right.
people.
To be a normal person.
Yeah, just normal
Right.
people, yeah.
Because I think it's difficult for South Koreans to forget that you are from North Korea, right? If they hear your accent or if they ask about your life and they say, okay, she's North Korean, you're always going to be North Korean.
That's right.
Right. So, Eunju, where do you hope that Freedom Speakers International will be 10 years from now?
My hope, I really want unification within 10 years. Then my assumption is unification after 10 years. Then I really want to bring FSI to North Korea. So I want to empower North Koreans living right now in the country. Then I hope they should get the freedom. They should be a better life. Yeah, so FSI should go into North Korea.
Right.
I'm not dreaming to be unification. I just hope North Korean people could have the same life as South Korean.
Right.
Maybe we have just two different country stays as two different country. But if just North Korean, if just my North Korean friends in North Korea have the same life like me, then I'm satisfied with that. My goal is not unification.
Not easy. Yeah, it's true.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you very much, Eunju Lee and Eunju Kim from Freedom Speakers International for coming on the podcast today. It was very nice to talk to you both.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.
And our listeners, you can find Freedom Speakers International online by going to the website FSI21, that's FSI21.org. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's episode. If you already have an NK News account, and if you're a think tank, business, or academic institution, take a look at NK Pro. Our NK Pro platform offers unparalleled services specifically catering to the needs of professionals who monitor developments on the Korean Peninsula. You can inquire about access or a free trial membership by sending an email to membership@nknews.org today. Our thanks, as always, go to Brian Betts and Arias Dare for facilitating this episode, and to our post-recording producer genius, Gabby Magnuson, who cuts out all the extraneous noises, awkward silences, bodily functions, etc. Thank you very much, and listen again next time.